Hey, so greetings, my good people. Today is Tuesday. It's Giving Tuesday. As you all know, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are matching donations to non-profit organizations up to the tune of 2 million US dollars. That's to US non-profit organizations. So I'm here today to talk about Bright Light projects. Bright Light is US-based public charity organizations. We have a mission of using music as a tool for sustainability in sub-Saharan Africa. So we identify different causes. We signed partnerships with other NGOs on the ground, common initiative groups, and community-based organizations to carry out our mission. So I'm here today specifically to talk about our current project in Africa called Africa for Ebola Orphans. We are all aware that Ebola may be gone, but the scars are still very, 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 very new to our faces. So, just to give you 5 reasons today why you should donate to Bright Light Project. 5 reasons. And please, as you join the conversation, feel free to share. Feel free to share as you join the conversation. So, Ebola orphans, they face, number one, they face stigma, they face hunger, and they face trauma. They are in increased risk of marginalization, abuse, and early pregnancy. During my last visit to Sierra Leone, I'm getting ready to go back there tomorrow. Sometimes when we talk about these things, we see them on TV. It's very different when you go down there and you actually see people on the ground. It's a very different experience. It's a very different experience. So, in my visits in some of the chiefdoms in the different communities that Bright Light Project is working in Sierra Leone, I was able to come face to face, with these children, and they are survivors. So it is really we all have a collective responsibility to try to see how we can do our own little best in trying to help these children. So the Ebola orphans are in urgent need of, sustainable support. How can they go back to school? School supplies, books, uniforms, and some of the children who are like 17, 18 years old, they don't want to go back to school. They need to learn some kind of a vocational training in order for them to be able to fend for themselves and for their communities. So that's why I'm here today to talk about, 5 reasons why you should donate to Bright Light Projects on this Giving Tuesday. It's a good thing. We're lucky the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation will be matching every donation dollar for dollar. So I'm here today calling on you, friends and families and well-wishers, to try to help us to be able to help these children, not just in Sierra Leone. We have Ebola orphans in Sierra Leone, in Guinea, Conakry, and in Liberia. And Bright Light Project is looking and working in all of these 3 countries. So Here are my 5 reasons why you should donate to Bright Light Projects. Number 1, after the media dropped the ball on Ebola, to think about the impact and the scars of Ebola. Yes, Ebola may be gone, but the scars and the impact is so great. So the media is no longer talking about Ebola. That's not saying that Ebola is no longer a threat. It is a threat. The children and survivors, or the children who lost their parents to Ebola, and the survivors, they were just abandoned by the media. Number 2, there are lots of international NGOs who were helping during the Ebola outbreak. But as soon as Ebola was declared back in July 2015, 2014, so as Ebola was declared over, most of these NGOs, they packed their bags. Some of them stayed behind. The problem is, these international NGOs, they do not have the capacity, okay? They do not have the manpower to be able to go to all of these different villages, into all of these different communities, to be able to identify these orphans, identify them, identify their needs, and to be able to provide a long-term solution. Bright Light Projects has done just that. For example, in Sierra Leone, we've been to so many cities, so many chiefdoms, so many districts in Sierra Leone. We've been to the Bombali district, we've been to Port Loko district, we've been to Makari Banti, we've been to Kenema, we've been to Bo, we've been to Makeni. So at the moment we have about 2,500 orphans in our database. We have our field workers working day and night in Sierra Leone. Our head office is in Freetown, but we have our field workers working day and night. The 2 areas that were most hit by Ebola in Sierra Leone were Waterloo district and in Makeni, the Bombali district. Bright Light Project is in these areas. Our field workers and our social workers are working day and night, scouting for the orphans, looking for ways to help them, looking at the immediate environment and what kind of help we'll be able to provide, doing vulnerability assessments. So Bright Light will be able to send the most vulnerable kids to school, and also some of the children who are like already youth, like 17, 18, 19, also be able to send them to vocational training. We have that capacity. We have field workers in all these districts. They're going into the districts and they are doing the work. That's reason number 2 why you should donate to Bright Light Projects. Reason number 3. See, most of the aid that came in during and after Ebola really focused on the survivors of Ebola. Even this aid was short-lived because it could not go to all the survivors in all the communities. And even if it did, it was not sustainable. So Bright Light Project is building a sustainable framework for both the Ebola orphans and the survivors. The kids who are in primary school, who are in middle school, and for the youth who may be 18, 19, who may no longer want to go to school. So we're providing them vocational training. So Bright Light Project has signed special partnerships with some schools in some of the communities and the vocational schools in order to be able for them to be able to accommodate, all of the children that we are bringing with them. And Bright Light Project has social workers who are actually monitoring the progress of these children, both from the academic standpoint and from a psychosocial standpoint. So that's the third reason why you should donate to Bright Light Project. The fourth reason why you should donate to Bright Light Project. Most governments in the Ebola affected countries really do not have budgets for Ebola orphans. I mean, we can blame the government all we want to do, but one thing we have to realize is that, the government cannot do everything for the people. We as citizens have our own responsibility to help our government in whatever area and in whatever small way we can help. Okay? So you can imagine after the aftermath of Ebola, these governments, they were dealing with a lot. So most of these governments, they do not have budget for Ebola orphans. So the survival of these children really depends on the goodwill gesture from people like you and myself. So, how did these children end up in this situation? They never called for. Ebola came. It came with all its malice. It came with all the challenges, but now it's gone. But the impact is still so great. Number 5 reason why you should donate to Bright Light Projects. This is kind of personal. I actually lost a brother due to the presumption of Ebola. Okay? 2014, my brother had left here from the US, went home to go visit, had gone on a business trip to Nigeria, and it so happened it was during that time when they had the Ebola outbreak. You can remember that there was some talk of Ebola in Nigeria as well during that time. The Nigerian government was able to contain the Ebola. And then, rushed to the hospital to Nigeria, and, what they said was he had symptoms of Ebola, so nobody was wanting to treat him. So my cousin had to take him. The border was closed between Nigeria and Cameroon. He had to take him through whatever means and took him home to Cameroon. And when he went to Cameroon to the hospital in Bamenda, it took 5 to 6 days for the doctors to attend to him, because they said since he came from that region in Nigeria, there was also a presumption of Ebola. By the time they attended to him, it was too late, and my brother died. And so I just said, it's, to me, this personal. I would use whatever means I have, resources I have, to try to fight this Ebola. So I got so interested about Ebola and how I can help. And 2014, with the help of some partners, we organized the first ever diaspora response concert for Ebola relief in Washington, D.C., where we were able to raise money and help Doctors Without Borders and the International Medical Corps. I didn't want to end there. I kept reading about Ebola, and I realized that, there were so many orphans, so many kids who have been orphaned by the Ebola virus, and, they have no help because the government in these countries really have no budget for them. That's how it, took me all the way to Sierra Leone. We established a Bright Light office in Freetown. We also established in Guinea-Conakry. And so it is a continuous journey. It's a long one. And I'm calling on all of you to help us to be able to help the kids. So I really want to thank you for your time. Again, I've given you 5 reasons why you should donate to Bright Light Projects. Please visit us on our website, www.brightlightprojects.org, on our Instagram, Bright Light Projects, our Facebook page, Bright Light Projects, our YouTube channel. You will find lots and lots of videos of our work, our field work, in Sierra Leone, on how, our field workers are able to, navigate through the challenges in order to provide, some kind of help for the children. So it's all about advocacy through music, using music as a tool for sustainable development in sub-Saharan Africa. Please, you listen to this video, watch this video, please share, invite your friends and families, let them donate. The Ebola orphans, they are not orphans of their choice. Circumstances have placed them here. We all have a responsibility to be able to help them, both from an academic standpoint, for them to be able to go back to school, from a support standpoint, from a psychosocial care standpoint. The children are in increased urgent need of, sustainable support, support returning to school. So thank you so much. It's Giving Tuesday, and don't forget, to give to other NGOs of your choice, because, as Africans, we have a responsibility, to contribute our own little progress to our countries. The government alone cannot do it all. We need to start making contributions as citizens of Africa, and, it starts with you. Nothing is small. It is never small. Whatever help you can give to your little community back home, never ignore it. $10 can go a long way. $50 can go a long way. $100 can go a long way. So I'm calling on all of you, please click on the donate button, donate to Bright Light Projects. We have a long way to go. Our next big project will be on suicide immigration. We can see all how our brothers are being sold as slaves in Libya. We have to lend our voices. Music again comes in as a tool for sustainability. We'll do music we'll organize concerts, we'll raise funds, and we'll support our brothers and sisters who are returning to our various countries. Once again, thank you so much. It's Giving Tuesday, and I hope I've given you 5 reasons why you should donate to Bright Light Projects to enable us carry out our programs and our projects in sub-Saharan Africa, especially with our current project called Africa for Ebola Orphans in Sierra Leone, in Guinea, and in Liberia. Thank you so much. May God bless you. Have a great day.